What's up? What's up? This is Jeff from BKJMAC TV, and this is the BKJMAC podcast experience coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. In today's episode 40, I know I said the last one was episode 40, but it was an error. So this is episode 40, officially episode 40 of season 3. So our episode today is an interesting one. Now, article came out. I was low-key shocked about this. I just couldn't believe it, and but it's spreading across the media, and I think this is probably why Golden State did not select this individual. And the individual in question is Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard right now is being accused of sexual assault, but the person that's accusing him of sexual assault and is not a woman, it's a man. Now, I'm not here to bash any man about their sexuality, the sexual preference, who they like to be next to in bed. That's their problem, man or woman, it doesn't matter. That's their prerogative at the end of the day. But I was shocked. I think there were rumors about Dwight Howard's sexuality, and does he enjoy the company of being with men as well as with women, because he dated women and had kids and stuff like that. But it makes me wonder, is Dwight Howard gay? And I'm not sure. Or is he pansexual? Does he like both women and men? And does he not identify a gender? That's what basically a pansexual is. There's no gender definition. And it's whatever you feel that you like, you go for. So I'm starting to wonder, is Dwight Howard a pansexual or a bisexual? But to me, that's his personal business. That's Dwight Howard's personal business. The reason I'm talking about this on my podcast is because it's making news everywhere and people are talking about it, and there are people out there, bad actors out there, that are very homophobic and making homophobic slurs at Dwight Howard. And I think we're in a new age now that homophobic slurs are not accepted no more, and it shouldn't be tolerated anymore. And Dwight Howard, he can love whoever he chooses to love, who he chooses to be with. That's Dwight Howard. It should not be made, his sexuality should not be made fun of. I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of dudes out there that's in the closet in Atlanta. There's San Francisco and New York, around the United States. They're dating women and they're being with men on the sidelines, and they don't want to reveal it because they're afraid of being judged or bashed by their male peers, which I think it's absolutely ridiculous. If you enjoy the company of men, that is your business. Nobody shouldn't judge you about that. I think there was an NBA player a couple of years ago. I think it was like 10 years ago. He became the first player to admit that he was openly gay, and I was like, okay, and the Nets signed him. It was a big publicity stunt, but the Nets signed the first openly gay basketball player on their roster. So I mean, I think there's a lot of gay players in the NBA, or pansexual or bisexual, however you want to classify your sexual orientation. Now, in this article right here that I'm about to read over, it's an opinion piece, and it's on The Root. The title of the article is called "The Conversations About Dwight Howard's Sexual Assault Allegations Are All Wrong." This is written by Noah A. McGree. This was published on Wednesday, October 25th, 2023 at 1:20 p.m. This is what McGree wrote. People are talking about Dwight Howard's sexual assault all wrong. Here's why. Earlier this year, a man by the name of Stephen Harper filed a complaint accusing the former NBA All-Star of sexual assault and battery during an encounter at Howard's house in 2021. So this was in 2021. So this was like a couple of years ago. In response to the complaint, Howard has denied sexual assault and battery allegations made against him, but has admitted to having a consensual sexual encounter with Harper. This is the part where he admits that he had a consensual sexual encounter with Harper, but there was no sexual assault and no battery allegations. I think that right there shocked the world. I mean, people knew in a way, because I think it was wilding out. There was a trans that he was looking at. I mean, it was people that he was looking at. So, but I think this confirmed it right here. Justin Bailey, Howard's attorney, told ESPN the allegations against Mr. Howard are contested. Mr. Howard intends to present the truth. The truth is Mr. Howard blocked Mr. Harper on social media and then was confronted with two options: pay to protect his reputation or have a fabricated story made public. Now, I wished Dwight Howard would have recorded this creep. Because if Dwight Howard is alleging that Mr. Harper was threatening him to expose him if he didn't pay him, I think Dwight Howard, in his best interest, should have recorded it, should have contacted the FBI or the police, and they would have arrested Mr. Harper for being a creep and for extorting Dwight Howard for money. It has happened before. There have been bad actors who have extorted celebrities and famous people for money because of transgressions they have done, and they have used that as leverage to try to get funding from them. So they're trying to expose something major about their personal life, which I think is just grossly offensive, in my opinion. So despite being an easy target due to the subject matter and his status as a celebrity, Mr. Howard chose to trust in the justice system and will rely on all future court filings to speak for themselves. So Dwight Howard is allowing the court system to do just that, take care of itself, take care of this case, all the filings, everything. Dwight Howard took a chance. He could have easily paid this guy off, and that would have been the end of it. But Dwight Howard, for the fact, let this happen and let the world see that he was not ashamed of this. And you shouldn't be ashamed if it's who you like. It's who you want to be around. So if anything, that's Dwight Howard's prerogative. And for the fact that he put himself out there to deal with the visceral of the crowd of homophobic people in sports, it's a tremendous respect. You got to deal with it. You got to give him a hand of applause, because he could have easily paid the guy off. Why the discussion around Howard has been inappropriate. So McGree makes this question and answers it. I explained the nature of these allegations to tell you that the discourse surrounding them has been even more disappointing. Instead of people being more bothered about the sexual assault allegations, people are using this lawsuit as an opportunity to make fun of Howard's sexuality, which I just talked about, which is grossly offensive to Dwight Howard and to people's personal feelings in nature. Just check some of the tweets below, and trust me, these are some of the less explicit ones. So obviously they use a skit from Law and Order where an athlete admitted that he was gay, and they use that to piece it together for Dwight Howard, and these are the least explicit ones. They took a moment where, I'm not really going to give it no credence. Basically, he's being accused of sexual assault. Who cares about the gender of the victim? Either way, it's still a terrible act to be accused of. It just further reveals just how disgustingly homophobic sports fans can be. They don't care about the victim. They don't care that he was allegedly forced into committing a sexual act. They care that Dwight Howard is gay. That's all. Yeah, that's literally what sports fan people are talking about. What about Stephen Harper's health? Is he doing okay? Does he feel safe? I'm not seeing enough of those questions. I'm seeing more jokes talking about how freaky Dwight Howard is. It's a shame to witness, and that's really the discourse that we're in right now. But to be honest, it's something that shouldn't surprise me. I already knew that some sports fans could be disgustingly homophobic. It's just a shame to see it in real time. I mean, this McGree honestly should be more aware and stop being naive, because let's be honest, in sports, it's an evolution process. It's a step-by-step process. People are still getting indoctrinated to the idea of openly gay athletes and trans athletes, bisexual, pansexual players and athletes and whatnot. So the fact that McGree is and I just use the word too, is naive to the subject matter, it's beyond me. But that's the reality we live in. And there's gonna be men in sports that's gonna be homophobic, and that's the way it is. It takes time for change to happen. It takes time to change from one behavior to a new behavior that fosters positivity and whatnot. So it's gonna be a while, and let's see what happens. I feel sorry for Dwight Howard that he has to go through this, to get disrespected, get humiliated. I mean, he could have got rid of this privately, but he's standing up for himself. And let's see what happens. The world is talking about his sexual orientation. Let's see how he responds to this. Let's see if he's able to clear his name on this. And I believe him. I don't think he sexually assaulted anybody. So I'm going to stand on Team Dwight Howard's side. And I hope that he sees his victory on the day of court. Thank you for listening to this episode 40 of the BKJMAC podcast experience. Peace, love, always one.